Welcome to the explainer for what has to be the ultimate zero-to-hero journey. We're looking at a guy who literally conquered a brutal death game using, well, agriculture. That's right, we're diving into the accidental 99th floor tower farmer. Let's get right into it.
So, what if you were trapped in the world's deadliest dungeon, a place built for glorious heroes and overpowered mages, right? But instead of a magical sword, you are armed with nothing but a plastic grocery bag full of cherry tomatoes and sweet potatoes. Honestly, it sounds like a complete joke, but this is the absurd and absolutely brilliant premise of our protagonist Seijun's survival story.
Part 1. Sucked into the Black Tower.
Okay, for a quick bit of context, 10 years ago, these mysterious 99-floor structures called Black Towers just suddenly appeared across the globe. You know the drill. They're packed with deadly monsters, legendary loot, and they grant these sweet RPG-style classes to awaken humans. Naturally, people risk their lives to climb them, because clearing a tower means unimaginable wealth. And our guy Seijun? He's just a regular 26-year-old struggling to make rent, and he desperately wants a piece of that action.
He's actually desperate to save up 200 million won just for a tower entry ticket. But then, out of nowhere, a black hole, which is the phenomenon that transports people to the tower, opens right behind him. Now, Seijun gets so overly dramatic and honestly cringeworthy about his destiny that the black hole actually gets embarrassed and starts shrinking to reject him. I'm not kidding. Refusing to lose his one big chance, he literally dives headfirst into this awkward, shrinking portal. But instead of waking up in the safe beginner's plaza like you'd expect, he finds himself totally stranded in a desolate, pitch-black cave, and his only gear? That grocery bag he was carrying home.
Part 2. Surviving the First Blue Moon.
You guys, the brutal grind of his first 2 months is just absolute agony. Day 1, he's trapped, screaming for help and forced to plant the seeds from his apple and the roots of his green onions, literally just to stave off starvation. Then, fast forward to day 61. He faces the terrifying first blue moon. This is a lunar event inside the tower that drives all the monsters completely insane. A giant red bear nearly discovers his tiny cave, which leaves Seijun shaking in absolute terror.
But here's the crazy part. That exact same terrifying blue moon actually kickstarts his entire farming empire. The lunar energy causes this miraculous transformation in his cave, infusing his scrappy little crops with magical properties. And even better, it brings Seijun his very first companions. A couple of adorable, starving white farmer rabbits just kind of drop into his cave. Unable to resist their cute pleading eyes, he hires them on the spot in exchange for food. Just like that, he's not totally alone anymore.
Part 3. The F-rank tower farmer.
So, Seijun always dreamed of becoming a glorious mage or swordsman, right? Getting worldwide fame, wielding overpowered magic, the whole shebang. But the hilarious reality? When the tower system finally recognizes him, he gets the most pathetic awakening ever. He is assigned the class of F-rank tower farmer with, quote, mediocre talent. Ouch. And to make matters worse, the unseen tower administrator realizes Seijun is actually there by mistake and literally threatens him with death to cover up the system error.
To survive, our guy is forced to pay exorbitant cherry tomato taxes to this greedy administrator just to avoid execution. As Seijun so accurately complains, if this guy really is the tower's administrator, then he's a terrible boss. He's working his fingers to the bone, literally paying taxes in tomatoes, and what does he get in return? Scrap rewards. Like a basic seed sprouting skill? Gee, thanks.
Part 4. Building a Monster Farm Family.
But Seijun doesn't stay solo for long. He actually recruits an incredible crew. First up, the white rabbits join as his expert harvesters and planters. And when they have babies, one of them evolves during a blue moon into a black rabbit wielding a massive sledgehammer. That guy becomes the farm's warrior and fish hunter. After that, he gains the loyalty of a poisonous queen bee who handles pollination and makes magical honey. And finally, my personal favorite, he signs a lifetime contract with Theo. Theo is a wandering merchant cat who got scammed out of his entire life savings over a girl. Seijun turns him into the farm's roaming salesman.
Now, these aren't just your run-of-the-mill vegetables. Theo can sell them super easily because they are completely game-breaking. Get this, the magic cherry tomatoes burn 10 grams of fat and raise your mana. The blue moon sweet potatoes permanently raise strength. Sejun mixes the bee's honey with green onions to create these delicious energy boosters, and he buys carrots from a magical seed shop that act as the absolute ultimate motivation for his rabbit workforce. Think about it. His completely mundane farming is producing overpowered, stat-boosting items that high-level hunters on the lower floors would practically kill for.
Part 5. The 99th Floor Revelation.
Okay, so everything suddenly clicks into place when Theo tells Sejun his tragic backstory. Theo casually mentions, "I'm from the 65th floor, one of the tower's neutral zones." He explains that it only took him a quick 10-day trip to travel from the 65th floor up to Sejun's cave to sell him those fake magical items.
Hearing this, Sejun is completely confused. He asks what floor they're currently on, and Theo just casually drops this massive number, 99.
You can practically see Sejun's brain completely short-circuit. He isn't in some hidden beginner's zone down on the first floor like he thought. He has been farming in the absolute hardest, most deadly zone of the entire tower, the 99th floor, this whole time. He honestly thought the journey to the outside world was just a few easy floors away, but nope, he's actually at the very peak of the tower, literally surrounded by endgame bosses that could squash him like a bug.
Part 6. An accidental farming legend.
But against all odds, Sejun's agricultural prowess allows him to accidentally conquer this 99th floor nightmare. He actually ends up taming that terrifying giant red bear cub, the same one that nearly gave him a heart attack earlier, just by feeding it sweet honey and roasted sweet potatoes. Then when a massive Minotaur king breaches his farm, it ignores Sejun completely and just starts rolling around in his green onions, totally obsessed with the taste. And when a starving, desperate tribe of elite silver wolves attacks, Sejun simply hires them to plow his fields in exchange for food. He is literally subjugating the tower's apex predators with snacks.
The absolute peak of this ridiculous journey happens when those silver wolves see these massive monsters obeying a simple human. They automatically assume he must be some kind of deity in disguise. And Sejun, he leans completely into this wild misunderstanding. He declares himself the great black dragon to lock down the absolute loyalty of the terrified wolves. He literally bluffs his way into becoming the supreme ruler of the 99th floor's monsters without throwing a single punch.
But wait, here is the ultimate plot twist. The real tower administrator, that terrible boss who was taxing him with death threats earlier, is actually the real Great Black Dragon, Eileen. She's this tsundere dragon whose heart was broken and failing. But as she eats Sejun's magical mana-infused cherry tomatoes and sweet potatoes, her dragon heart actually begins to heal. So now, watching him farm and care for his quirky monster family, this terrifying legendary dragon actually starts blushing and falling head over heels in love with our F-rank farmer.
So, with dragon tier stats on the horizon, an incredibly powerful monster family at his back, and the actual tower administrator falling in love with him, just how powerful will this F-rank farmer become? Sejun entered the tower as a totally cringe-worthy novice with nothing but a grocery bag, but through sheer grit, ridiculous humor, and a whole lot of cherry tomatoes, he's accidentally built an empire at the top of the world. And that's a wrap on this explainer. Thanks for hanging out and joining me on this incredible journey. See you next time.